जय राम जय जय राम। ओम श्री राम 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 जय राम जय जय राम। जय जय राम। ओम श्री राम जय राम।
Om Jai Jai Ram Om Sri Ram Jai Ram 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 Jai Jai राम ओम श्री राम जय राम जय जय राम ओम श्री राम जय राम जय जय ओम श्री राम जय राम जय जय राम 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 ओम श्री राम जय जय राम ओम श्री राम जय 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 राम जय जय ओम श्री राम राम जय जय राम ओम श्री राम जय राम जय जय राम ओम श्री राम राम जय जय राम ओम जय राम जय जय राम श्री राम जय राम जय जय राम ओम श्री राम जय जय राम ओम श्री राम जय राम जय जय श्री राम जय राम जय जय राम ओम श्री राम जय राम जय जय राम ओम श्री राम जय राम जय जय राम ओम श्री राम जय राम जय जय श्री राम जय राम जय जय राम ओम श्री राम जय राम जय श्री राम जय राम जय जय राम ओम श्री राम जय राम ओम श्री राम जय राम जय जय श्री राम जय राम जय जय राम ओम श्री राम जय राम जय जय राम ओम श्री राम जय जय राम ओम श्री राम जय राम जय जय राम ओम श्री राम जय राम जय राम ओम श्री राम जय राम जय जय राम ओम श्री राम जय राम जय राम ओम श्री राम जय राम जय 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 राम ओम श्री राम जय राम जय जय राम ओम श्री 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 राम जय जय ओम श्री राम जय जय राम ओम श्री राम जय जय ओम श्री राम जय जय राम 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 ओम राम जय जय राम ओम श्री राम जय श्रुति राम ओम राम जय जय राम ओम श्री राम जय जय राम ओम श्री राम
राम जय जय राम ओम
श्री राम जय जय राम ओम
श्री राम जय राम ओम
श्री राम जय 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 राम ओम
श्री राम जय जय राम ओम
श्री राम जय राम ओम
श्री राम जय जय राम ओम।
प्रणाम
Hari Om, Pranam, 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 Pranam to everybody. Hari Om, Hari Om, Hari Om, Hari Om. Yesterday we were trying to go through some of the thoughts which were drawn from Srimad Bhagavad Gita and blending it with peace eternal. It's an attempt prompted by him to help us in finding the peace by intensely going through the theme contained in every chapter. Why do we say that we concentrate more and more on the word peace? Normally, when we utter the word peace, it stands for tranquility, equanimity, calmness, serenity, positive indifference. Nothing against anybody, but at the same time remaining neutral, not getting affected at all. And then freedom from disturbance, anxiety, distress, dispiritedness, even depression. This is how we normally understand by the word peace. That is why, whether we know the meaning or not, everybody knows this. That is why we say somehow we want peace of mind. But here we are striving towards peace eternal, which is the core of our being. When Papa was passing through trying moments in 1920s, when he was crying, where is peace, where is rest? God prompted a friend of him to come forward and offer help to tide over the financial crisis. In the normal parlance, you and I would have been satisfied with that, because the creditors are shouting, we cannot go ahead with our loom section, neither can we stop it. So this is the situation. To continue is a problem, to stop is a problem. And at the same time, creditors are pressing for their dues. So he was crying for peace. God answered in the form of that friend. Naturally, the problem must have been solved. He must have got peace. But Papa wanted peace eternal. This is how we try to understand the peace that we ordinarily say and the peace that every one of us should strive for. That which stays with us, that which is always with us, that we have to realize. Is that clear?
Yes, Swami.
Relative peace and absolute peace. So we are trying through the 18 chapters to get some clues to know the peace eternal that is within us. So yesterday we saw up to the 6th chapters. Unless we bring in the God dimension behind every thought, every word, every deed, we will not be able to move towards this peace. We cry for peace when we are cornered, no? Then again we forget. But we have been assured here that once we taste the peace eternal within, nothing can disturb us. Disturbance may be at the superficial level, like a line drawn on the surface of water. It will not affect deep. No dent will be there, no negative impact will be there. So Geeta teaches us this. So the first chapter made us aware that the one great obstacle that we are facing in becoming aware of the peace eternal is the me and mine. Anything that is centered on an individual cannot bring out this peace. So we have to move from the individual to the universal. So the first chapter gives us this idea. Second chapter, how to attain this, how to get over this. So the first and foremost thing that comes to our mind is try to have a balanced view in everything. Equanimity, samatvam. Bring out excellence in whatever we are doing, perfection. Do not expect any return for the actions that we are made to do. Then sense control. Values. So that we will be attaining a state where, just like in an ocean, when the rivers go and join, it does not affect the fullness. Apuryamana achala pradishtam. So always it is full. No matter wherever the river joins or whatever quantity it brings it, still it becomes same. So like that, whatever may happen externally, one will remain full, unaffected, unattached. So this was highlighted in second chapter. The third chapter says we will be able to attain the peace eternal when we try to transform every action as a dedication to Him. Karma to Karma Yoga. He has provided the prompting, He has provided the wherewithal, He has provided the field, so naturally everything is His only. And the fourth chapter again emphasizes that the moment we take away the sense of agency, sense of ownership of any action, that will lead to peace eternal. Fifth chapter says, though the tendency may be there to run away from the field, no. Transform every action rather than renouncing any action. Again we repeat, God gave us the opportunity. God made us to pass through the so-called labeled positive and negative experiences. If we are in a position to maintain that, it will lead to peace eternal. 6th chapter also gives some clues that if we develop equanimity, one-pointedness, moderation in whatever we are doing, that will finally lead to peace eternal. So every time, every chapter now gives us some clues to become aware of the peace eternal that is within us. By making us to dig, by making us to identify those points, every time he hammers that peace eternal is within, is within, is within. As a sculptor removes that which is obstructing the beautiful form, all that we have to do is to remove that which denies the awareness of peace eternal. Because none of us should think that peace eternal is something that comes from outside. Anything that comes from outside will not be abiding, will not be permanent, will not be eternal. It comes and goes. So the normal meaning of peace is related to that. Freedom from disturbance, anxiety, distress, conflict. Suppose there is a conflict, the conflict ends. For a moment there is peace. But again there is, when the war is going on, when the other party declares surrender, there is peace. That is why the white flag will be shown. Surrender. But those, they are peace, no doubt, but you cannot say peace eternal. At that particular moment, that conflict has ended. In our life also, we are stressed with so many problems. Every time we go, we pray. Papa's devotees keep on sending their requests through email for Papa's intervention for getting peace. But as soon as that problem is solved, the problem is we forget about peace. Again another problem will come, again we will approach Papa. No? That is not what is wanted here. We want peace that stays with us, peace eternal. It is past all relative peace. So with this background, we will move to the 7th chapter. Probing into the God dimension, the source of all creation, including the delusion. Offer clarity on the God dimension. Bhakti, devotion to God, as expressed through 4 types of devotees. These are all the easily relatable method to realize the God dimension, of which the last one, Jnani bhakta, is the safest passport for ultimate peace. The 7th chapter gives us the way how the entire creation has come out, origin. Why this varied manifestation? If we understand the cause for it, it will help us a lot in moving towards peace eternal. That is, a person is not behaving in the manner in which he should behave. That's what we feel. Why did he behave like that? Why did he talk like that? We always say that disturbs us. But here through 7th chapter, Lord Krishna is asking, go to the source. He is behaving because of his gunas. He is swayed by the gunas which he has brought forward with him as an individual in his life. So when we try to accept that everybody is acting from his or her own guna stand, then to that extent we will not be disturbed. Suppose we go to a hospital, mental hospital. The different types of behavior of the patients there, we will not take into seriously, Why? We know that they are not mentally all right. We are in a position to accept who has been declared as mentally not all right. But here we do not accept, because it is because of the gunas he is carrying over. So whatever we feel like telling them, we can tell them and leave it. Because the other party will not be able to understand it because of the over-dominance of his gunas. So that is why the Lord says here in 7th chapter, try to go to the origin of your and the world life so that you will know why anybody is behaving like that. And bhakti. There are 4 types of bhaktas. He brings it here. Artha, Artharthi, Mumukshu and Jignasu, Jnani. Mumukshu or Jignasu, both are same. Artha and Artharthi. So naturally when we want more, when we are in bodily pain, when we are mentally stressed, we pray to him. When we want more wealth, we want more security, we pray to him. The other one is trying to know something about this giver. When I pray, when he says, suppose he becomes mine, then I don't have to pray at all. And last one is Jnani Bhakta. He will not ask anything. Because he knows he is absolutely safe in his hands. There is nothing for him to ask. So when we try to understand the Jnani Bhakta state, that will lead to peace eternal. That will lead to the awareness of peace eternal within. So 7th chapter gives us these 2. One is to go to the source, that which is disturbing us. It is because God has given us only a human birth. But the body, mind, intellect equipment is an outcome of our previous birth. Karma sanchitam. That is why, as Swami Chinmayanandaji says, thought by thought we have built up this. The present body, mind, intellect equipment we have built. We have ordered. God gave us the life force, but BMI is our own. So during this birth, suppose we try to become more and more Godward, meaning less and less me and mine, We are ordering for our next birth a suitable equipment to move towards Him. So 7th chapter gives us this, and also the 4 types of bhaktas, and the importance is for he is my dearest who, Jnani Bhakta. Where the Jnani Bhakta, how does he become so full? Because he knows he is absolutely safe in his hands. The trust in him has become total. We have faith in him, but we don't have the trust in him. So we are praying to him, you are responsible for my very birth, you are responsible for my very existence, you are responsible for my co-creations, and then why should I unnecessarily bother about anything? You will make me to do whatever you want me to do, that's all. There ends the whole thing. So 7th chapter gives us some clues. All these are he touches and kindles. It is for us to develop. Because God gives us absolute freedom. Yathechasi tatha guru. Whatever way you want, you act. And then we move to the 8th chapter. Though we are intellectually 100% convinced about the transient nature of body, that death will come to every one of us. Intellectually we know that. We are seeing everybody quitting. We will also one day quit. But it's only an intellectual knowledge. We don't really mean it. If we really mean it, we will become detached. We will be acting but detached. Please think over this. Vinobaji used to say an example of Eknathji. He met a friend who was always in tension, stressful period. He said, on such and such a day, you are going to die. 10 days or something like that. So after the 7th or 8th or 9th day, he met him. He asked about something. He said, where is the time for me to think of anything else? Because I am thinking only about the death that is to come. When the death comes, when you are thinking about the death, automatically you don't get attached to anything. Because you have to keep your bags ready and quit. Even if somebody comes and says, why don't you come, this is more attractive, this is more pleasing, this is more helpful for you, we will not bother about it. No, I have to leave, I have to leave, I have to leave. So that is why in so many shlokas in this particular chapter, 8th chapter, the Lord talks about Antakalecha mameva smaran mukta kalevaram. So when you think about me at the time of death, how will I think about him at the time of death? Unless I think about him now. So when I keep on thinking about the transient nature, a day will come when you will definitely take me away from this, make me to drop this body. Then why should the body get so much attached? Why should I get attached to so many things related to this body? Which are the disturbing factors for my peace? So in 8th chapter we are looking at it. Prayanagaleja manasa achalena. Like there are so many shlokas. Tasmat sarveshu kaleshu Mam anusmara vidyacha. Therefore, at all times and in all places, remember me and fight the battle of life. Remember me. So he highlights about this aspect. If we are not alert to this fact, we will associate ourselves with the mortal identity of ourselves and the world. So a constant remembrance of this truth, what is eternal, what is ephemeral, what is permanent, what is impermanent. If I keep on doing the manana, though I will be functioning as a normal person, reacting to all events and individuals, at heart I will be detached. And when this sort of detachment, not a negative detachment, a positive detachment based upon the vision of reality, paves the way for making me aware of the peace eternal. 8th chapter, beautiful chapter. 7th chapter made us aware that if we go to the source of everything, that will enable us to know that we should not be excited, we should not be depressed over whatever is happening outside. Because everything is happening based upon the previous karma, previous gunas. We are now prompted to act, there ends the matter. We are prompted to act and react. There ends the matter. No prefix, no suffix. It is very difficult to practice, but we can try. So 7th chapter was telling us to go to the source, and also about the 4 types of bhakti, of which the Jnani bhakta, who is always feeling totally secure, yoga kshemam vahamya. Because when we totally rely on that word, your yoga and your kshema, both I will take care, then why should we bother? Yoga, we can say union with God. Kshema, we can say our welfare activities, outer and inner welfare. So not every time we feel insecure, that is the one which disturbs our peace. What will happen? What will happen? What will happen? What will happen? So here we feel absolutely safe in His hands. He who has sent us knows what is to be done, what is not to be done. That trust. 8th chapter reminds us another way to know the peace eternal is to know the transient nature of the body. Though we accept that death is there for everybody, each one has to ask oneself whether are you conscious of your own death. Some are conscious, that is why they write will, everything, Or somebody may say, this has to be continued. Somebody will write down what is to be followed. But 99.99% of our come, we will know, though we know that death is certain, we will not give serious thought to it. That means we are still attached to everything. We would like to read talks on Geeta. No. There, that Ekanath, what I said, it is beautifully presented. No. Whatever, I have what I have. If you have, I don't have to search, that's all. The 8th chapter puts forward a thesis that the thought uppermost in the mind at the time of death prevails over others in the next birth. When we start on a journey, we carry some provisions with us to sustain us on our journey. The thought uppermost in the mind at the time of death, which is the essence of what has been earned in this life, is the provision with which we start our journey in the next birth. We begin a new day with the previous day's gains in hand. Death is like a long sleep, after which we begin a new life with the gains of the previous birth. End of this life is the beginning of the next one. Hence, one must always be aware of the inevitability of death while conducting oneself in this life. This is necessary also to enable us to face the dread of death and find ways and means to counter it. There is a story from the life of Saint Ekanath. A gentleman once asked him, "Sir, your life is so simple and pure. Why ours is not so? You never lose your temper or quarrel with anybody. How serene, pure, kind-hearted you are. Peace eternal, no?" Jignasu said, "Leave me out of for the time being. Let me tell you that I have come to know something about you. You are going to die after 7 days." Who would disbelieve Jignasu? Only 7 days of life left. The gentleman rushed to his home. He could think of nothing else. He started entrusting his affairs to others, making preparations for the end. He was taken ill, got confined to bed. 6 days passed. On the 7th day, Jignasu went to him and inquired, "How are you?" The man replied, "Sir, I am about to leave this world." Jignasu said, "Well, how many sins have you committed in the last 6 days? How many evil thoughts crossed your mind?" The gentleman replied, "Sir, where was the time for that? Death was always there before my eyes." Jignasu said, "Now you know the reason why the lives of people like me are sinless. How can the mind entertain evil thoughts when death is standing before you ready to pounce on you like a tiger. Even for committing sin, the mind has to be relaxed. Constant awareness of death is the means to be free from sin. If death is staring in the face, who can muster up courage to commit sin? But man always evades the thought of death. The French philosopher Pascal has written a book called Pensées Thoughts. It contains his stray thoughts. He observes therein that although death is always looking over our shoulders, we continually try to forget it. How to live with the awareness of death in the mind is never our concern. Man detests even the very mention of the word death. If somebody utters this word while taking meals, he is immediately admonished. Nevertheless, we are continually moving towards death only. Once you board a train to Mumbai, it is bound to take you there, even if you just keep sitting. The moment we are born, we have booked a ticket to the destination called death. Whether we run or keep sitting, death is bound to come. Whether you think of it or not, you cannot avoid it. Whatever else may be uncertain, death is certain. The sun sets every day, taking away a portion of your life. Life is continually being gnawed at. It is continually withering away. Still man takes no notice of it. Jnani claims, how curious. He wonders how man could be so thoughtless and unperturbed in such a situation. Man is so frightened of death that he cannot even bear the thought of it, tries to evade it like an ostrich burying its head in the sand. Soldiers going to the front play, dance or sing, smoke or forget death. Pascal wonders how they lose themselves in eating and drinking, singing and dancing in order to forget death, even when they see death everywhere. We are all like soldiers. We try to keep a smiling face, apply creams to hide wrinkles, dye our graying hair. We are ceaselessly trying to brush aside the thought of death, even though it is just round the corner. We talk about anything but death. Ask a boy who has done his matriculation about his future plans. He will reply, don't ask me now. I have joined the college just now. If you put the same question next year, he will reply, let the second year of college pass. I shall think of the future thereafter. So it goes on. But should not one think of the future in advance? One should plan the next step beforehand. Otherwise, one will land oneself in a ditch. But the student shirks this task. The education that the poor fellow receives is full of darkness that he has little idea of what is in store for him. He refuses to visualize the future since he sees only darkness ahead. There is no escape from the future. It is bound to catch him by the neck. The professor of logic teaches in the college, man is mortal. Socrates is a man, therefore Socrates is mortal. Why does he not give his own example? The professor too is mortal. But he would not say all men are mortal, therefore I, the professor, are mortal, and dear students, you too are mortal. He gives the example of Socrates. Since Socrates is already dead and is not there to protect himself, we use his name. Students and teachers talk of the morality of Socrates, but conveniently keep mum about their own. Perhaps they feel that they are fully secure from death. In this way, people everywhere are continually making deliberate efforts to forget death. But does that ward of death? It makes its presence felt when someone dear to us passes away. But still man does not think of death fearlessly, summon courage to overcome its challenge. And when death finally comes, man begins to take stock of what he has in balance at the end of his life. A dull and lazy student in the examination hall just looks here and there, whiles away his time. Dear chap, is Saraswati, the goddess of knowledge, going to come down from heaven to write answers for you? He keeps the answer book blank and at best scribbles a few lines, submits it when the time is up. our condition is no different. But keeping in mind that life ultimately ends in death, we must constantly practice throughout our life the means by which we can make the last moment pure, sacred, happy. From this very moment, we should be concerned with having the best of the samskaras. But who cares? On the contrary, we are constantly training ourselves in bad ways. When we are reading these portions, we remember of Vinobaji's death. Many of you might know or might not know, but it is worth knowing about it. I think that was in 85. Anyway, when I think he was 85 years old, he had some uneasiness in Pavanar. His ashram is near Nagpur. Brahma Vidya Kendram, that is the name of the ashram. It is purely for the sadhaka, for sadhana for ladies. So when he developed this uneasiness, somehow word got spread and doctors rushed in. Then they declared that he had a massive heart attack. So he must be immediately taken to the hospital. When Vinobaji was told that he should be taken to the hospital, he said no. They know he will never change. So they said, then we will bring all medicines, whatever is necessary. And you will have to undergo this. Then he declared no medicine. After some time he declared no food. Then he said no water. He went and laid himself on a raised cement platform in a hall. And their mantra is Ram Hari. So he was lying down and chanting Ram Hari, Ram Hari, Ram Hari. People all over, they all rushed up, including the then Prime Minister Indira Gandhi, pleaded with him to take something. He was very, very stubborn. In 1932, what we read now was written 1932. After 50 years, when the death came to him, you see, whatever he has written there, it has become a part of the life. So he was not giving a theory. And on the 7th day, he dropped the body. Even on the 7th day, we were told, or we had read somewhere, that a devotee from France, totally upset by this, took a glass of water and moved towards him, pleaded with him to take water, at least sip. He looked at her and said, "You take it." So that means whatever he has written in 1932, what we read out was from talks on the Geeta. These were the lectures he gave in 1932 when he was a prisoner in Marathi. Somebody was kind enough to jot down. Later on, he got it translated into English, and later on, if you remember right, 26 or 28 languages it has come out. In Malayalam, Kannada, Telugu, Hindi, Marathi, in all languages. It's a wonderful book. We read out from that portion, 8th chapter. So whatever he has written, he was able to live up to it. So 8th chapter gives us some idea. So constantly think that, because peace eternal, The moment we think about death, we get depressed, we get dejected, dispirited, we feel punctured, But here, in clear-cut terms, Vinobaji wrote and lived up to it. So this is one of the insecurity, What will happen? What will happen? What will happen? These are all the problems faced by us. So Lord Krishna is giving us some clues to become aware of the peace eternal by trying to plumb deep within and to know that which is blocking the peace eternal. If we are not alert to this fact, we will associate ourselves with the mortal identity of ourselves and the world. Only constant remembrance of this truth, that is the eternal nature of the power and the ephemerality of the creation, it can ensure peace eternal. And from there we move to the 9th. Absolute surrender to the superpower is the royal path in spirituality. What is that? Handing over our doership, enjoyership, sufferership, ownership to the indwelling and all-pervading reality. That is the express way to peace. It's a tall order for all of us, no doubt. Because we are still clinging on to so many things. Intellectually, we know that nothing is ours. We did not bring anything when we came to this world. Whatever is, it is provided by Him through His co-creations. Whatever I feel, it is my own. I know that it is not mine. I also know that one day I will have to go alone. None of these things I can take. Because I have not brought anything with me, I cannot take anything with me. All these are very, very clear to us. Especially those who have been associating with spiritual thoughts. They are intellectually 100% convinced about it. But to make it an experiential reality, that is what is needed. So 9th chapter says, only way is, go through whenever there is a sense of ownership is there, try to understand that you are not the real owner. Who is the real owner? This manana is definitely needed. We don't have to tom-tom, we don't have to express, we don't have to show it in any of our actions. But in our heart, we should be very, very clear about it. Nothing is ours. Everything is His. He gave me a sense of individuality. At times He makes me to feel happy. At times He makes me to feel not happy. At times He makes me to feel secure. At times He makes me to feel insecure. Like that, Every time we keep on thinking like this. He made me to gain. He made me to lose. He made me to enjoy. He made me to suffer. So number 9 says, total absolute surrender to the supreme power is the royal path in spirituality. Handing over of doership, enjoyership, sufferership, ownership to the indwelling and all-pervading reality is the express way to peace. Vande Bharat, no? Fastest. So today we touched upon 7th, 8th, 9th. So again, to have a quick recap, 1 to 9. Anybody remembers anything? Please come out of your manana state.
Hand over the reins of our minds.
Hand over the reins of our minds.
Reins of our
We have to somehow train our mind to hand over the reins of it to him. Yes? What is it? Me and I. Then,
அதுக்கு unshakable faith அவர்கிட்ட வேணும்.
unshakable faith வேணும். வெளியிலேருந்து வராதே. It has to come from within. Even if we hear 100% lectures, no. Only by delving deeper and deeper. By going through the biographical sketches of the masters, by watching the various play of God in the manifestation, look at ourselves. Did we look after ourselves when we were in the womb of our mother? From the seed stage to the grown-up baby stage, we don't have to ask anybody else. Who looked after us? Who gave us this life? Who is giving now the life? Think. The point what you raised is right, faith. I would say how to convert, not that we lack faith, we have not converted into trust. Papa's in quest of God, when Papa cried, where is rest, where is peace, he heard from within, trust me. Despair not, trust me, thou shalt be free. This was the voice intuitively heard by him. That word, and T is, capital. Despair not, trust me, and thou shalt be free. So peace eternal can become a reality when we try to transform our faith into trust. Trust means totally relying on him. Yes, anything else? We have technically covered 9 chapters, no? Half of the 18.
Moderation, equanimity, 140.
Discipline. If we go to the bazaar, we have to pay, then only we can get back. If we just go to the bazaar, the provisions or the vegetables will not come to our bag. We have to pay money. Similarly, this peace eternal which we have temporarily we feel we have lost, if we have to become aware of it, we have to pay the price in the form of discipline, self-imposed discipline. 6th chapter says about that discipline, moderation, equanimity, one pointedness. We can add anything more. Dispassion, followed by dispassion and practice. Followed by practice and dispassion. Abhyasa and Vairagya. So these are the price we have to pay. That means sitting in the comfort zone, ensuring everything by ourselves, it will not come to us.
But also, at the time of leaving our body, suppose we are Saguna Sarupa or Guru and give the life, will it be?
At the time of leaving the body, if I think of Saguna Swarupa of our Guru or God,
Will it do any good for us? That
Will
is
it
the
do any good for us?
If we have to remember that, we have to practice now, you know.
otherwise it won't come.
Papa gave us one opportunity to observe the last moment of an ardent devotee. Till that morning at 6 o'clock, when the Ramnam has to be started in the Samadhi Mandir, she was there. Suddenly after that, Abhi came out and suddenly she developed some vomiting or something. Anyway, by 9 o'clock she was taken to the hospital. The doctor said she had massive heart attack. The word came then and we rushed up to the hospital. She was in ICU. We went to her, took her hand, and she was struggling for breath. So we went close to her and said, "Can you remember anything about ashram? Can you remember anything about Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram? Can you remember about the blissful face of Papa, the serene face of Mataji?" She said, "Pain is terrible." And in a few minutes she passed away. Nothing will go in vain. She has been an ardent devotee. It won't go in vain. But at that time, when the physical pain is too much, that means this aspect probably would not have struck. A day will come when I will have to leave this body, and at that time I should remember. We don't know, we are assuming.
Practicing it always.
So now itself we have to practice, you know.
Practice.
Ah.
Yes, sir.
We are preoccupied with this life. Okay, we have to discharge our responsibilities. No doubt about it. We don't have to shirk anything. But somewhere in the corner of the mind, we should also bring this dimension. When the day passes, we should know, oh, one more day. Actually, that is why Ramana Bhagavan was blunt in telling, you know, when somebody said about Jayanti, birthdays. He was blunt. Instead of that, you should be thinking one more year has gone by. You are moving towards your exit. We have not reached that stage. At least we can think about it, no? So the 8th chapter dealt with everything. Very good. Then, anything else? One to 9.
Four types of bhaktas.
Four types of bhaktas, of which the last one, Jnani Bhakta. We have to keep on thinking. We should become a Jnani Bhakta. We must graduate from Artha, Artharthi and Mumukshu. But we must reach this Jnani Bhakta state. Yes, that is also there in 7th chapter. Then,
Svabhava karma becomes akarma.
Akarma.
Karma should be akarma.
even not becoming aware that I am acting. Action should take place by not being aware. Action in inaction, inaction in action. These are all word gymnastics, but we should understand, how to become, think about it. It's a good point. That is what is explained in 5th chapter. Then,
Go to the source.
7th chapter says, go to the source. Okay.
இப்போ எல்லாம் கர்ம சஞ்சிதத்தினால நடக்குதுன்னு சொல்றாங்க. கர்ம சஞ்சிதம்.
ஆமாம். ஆமாம்.
இப்போ நம்ம இப்போ பகவானை நினைக்கணும், நம்ம லாஸ்ட் இப்போ அந்த பிராக்டிஸ்க்கு கொண்டு வரணும்னாக்கா அது கர்ம, அதுக்கு நம்ம பிரயத்தனம் பண்ணணும். We have to put in our own effort இல்லையா? கர்ம சஞ்சிதம் அங்கே வராது.
அந்த டைமில் வராது, இப்படியே ட்ரை பண்ணணும். அதனால தானே அவர் சொன்னார், தஸ்மாத் சர்வேஷு காலேஷு, at all times and in all places remember me and fight the battle of life. We have not trained our mind. We are reacting to events and individuals from our me and mine plane. So we have to try devise some method by which we remember him. What we bring out is our own. We have to devise some method. There is no fixed method, because what is suitable for one may not be suitable for the other. But this has to be there. Tasma sarveshu kaleshu mam anusmari vidyacha. Papa here says that when you chant, you remember him. So chanting is recommended for remembering him. And while chanting, he is asking us to remind us that we are chanting the name of one who is within and who is making me to chant. So one method could be that when as much as possible in the waking state, we will try to mentally chant and become aware that he is making me to chant. If we practice this, probably it might help us to remember him even during our last moment. That is the easiest way. Otherwise, it will be difficult. Whenever, even the period ever so small, that word is also very significant. Today I did not get any time, I may feel. But while coming from the bath and going to the room, we can do that. While moving from one building to another, 2 minutes. While changing over my field of operation, 1 minute, 1 second, 2 seconds, yes. Mental chanting. So that mental chanting means it is far more effective.
While chanting, only Saguna Swarupa comes.
Enna vena ayigattum. Let anything, you chant. Because the mind is again interfering, or intellect is interfering and shaking us. We are chanting the name of one who is within, who is making me to chant. So this is the answer for the 8th chapter. 8th and 9th chapter. Let us see what he proposes to take us tomorrow. So 9 chapters. Kindly think over one by one. Now we get an overall picture of 1 to 9. Om Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Om Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Om. Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Om Shri 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 Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Om. Hari Om, Hari Om, Hari Om. Pranam, Pranam. Hari Om, Hari Om. Pranam. പുത്താണ്ട് വാഴ്ത്തുക. ഓക്കെ tomorrow പുത്താണ്ട്. എന്നെ പുത്താണ്ട് എല്ലാ പുത്താണ്ടില്ല. അയ്യോ
That's a very good